terrifying than the spider. We can go the Kurdzan way. Very timid-looking spider, that. Meanwhile, back at the title, we have to decide on a graphic style for Irene inspiration. Now, a naturalistic Freddy F8 or Erasmus Arranger would have been rather uninteresting. So we decided to humanize them, make them carnival, vaudeville, strip cartoon versions of themselves, if you like. We gave our characters faces. You can get a lot of information across with a face. Make exaggerated faces in the mirror and copy the shapes you see. Try a simple shape and add expressions. There's a happy fella, crow's feet at the corner of the eyes. There we go, laughing, right? And there's a nasty piece of work. Eyes narrowed, mouth down, sly, suspicious. Anger. So the brows get knitted, the eyes bug, the teeth are bared. Yeah. There we go. Anger. Right. Face probably purple. Anger. Oh, poor fellow, tired, miserable, run down, bags under the eyes. Here we go. Knitted brows, mouth goes down. There we are, droopy. Fear, right. Out bug the eyes. Up goes the hair. Down goes the mouth. Sweat comes off the brow. Fear. Right. Hammer horror films. Right. Here we are.
Even simple details can tell your audience a lot. For example, what kind of moustache has he got? What kind of hat does he wear? What kind of glasses does he use? And the clothes, they tell a similar story. Now the way you draw your characters also contributes to the impression. Here are two different characters. One is clean cut, correct, drawn with a smooth line. The other, drawn with a rough line, is uneven, blotchy colours, ill-fitting clothes, stands awkwardly. This film is by Richard Williams.
Once upon a time, there lived a man named Squidgy Bod. Everything he did was wrong. Everything he touched either broke or fused or tore. His clothes were either too big or too small. There also lived a man called Thermos Fortitude. Everything he did was right.
In animation, subtlety rarely works. I was going to say that it never works, but one can't be dogmatic. So what we need is exaggeration. In animation, fat people are really fat, and rich people are extremely rich. One last thought. You may want to simplify the drawing. This is called cleaning up. Otherwise, you'll spend hours redrawing checks and buttons. Okay, so far we've got the story and the characters. We then have to decide what kind of background to use. In our case, we wanted to get a comic strip look about the whole thing.
Of course, you don't always need to use backgrounds. I often don't. Bob's Uncle Wungle bird can get on perfectly well without them, especially if your shots are mainly in close-up. Or you may want to draw a simple background just to indicate where you are, for example, outdoors. You don't need to be as elaborate as Disney, but if you're animating a fairy story, something like this, it may add mood and atmosphere. If you can't draw, get a friend who can to help. Or you can hire the top men and vandalize the art galleries. Cut it out, stick it down, borrow a constable. Or you can set it at sea with the Fighting Temeraire from Turner. Perhaps your story takes place in Venice. Or pick a landscape by Nash, very classy. Or go modern with Marguerite. Or more Marguerite, if that's how your fancy takes you.
In my film Henry 9 to 5, I use a simple black and white setting for the drab office bits and bright colour for the fantasy sections.
I don't like my job very much, but I have discovered a way of defeating boredom and all its vicissitudes. I think about sex. I try to think about sex all day. When I see a nice buxom girl like her, I mentally undress her and imagine myself chasing her entirely nude through fields full of daisies. Or, if I'm in a more jocular mood, I might imagine myself throwing custard tarts or similar confectionery at her.
And in Alf, Bill and Fred, Bill goes around the world in 5 stills. In an animated chase, what happens is that the character runs on the spot and the background whizzes behind him. Draw a background on a long sheet of paper